The president of the North Carolina NAACP, and glad to be here with you this morning. When the majority of the people of a nation disregard morals, that nation's government will be ruled by the dictates of the census, by force, because the census have no morals. They are impressed by force only, or by that which it seems most expedient to do. Today, I left home asking God to enable me to stand aside from my physicality, which more often than not culminates in a life of doing rather than of being. And I requested of him to elevate and lift me to stand in my spiritual being, which purposes me to be rather than to do. My brothers and my sisters, in order to stand against something as powerful as white nationalist terrorism, we're going to need weapons, and we're going to need to become weapons. Weapons that are going to enable us to tear down the stronghold of white nationalist terrorism. And I'm not talking about mighty assault weapons, weapons of warfare like AK-7s or AB-3s or AK-47s. The weapons of our warfare cannot be carnal. They'll have to be mighty to the pulling down of a stronghold like white national terrorism. To be that, our lives will have to be draped by the mighty weapons of mercy, love, and peace. Part of the inner mission of the universal stream of spirituality is to prepare human beings to become so mature in soul that an ever-increasing number of them will be able to absorb all the goodness that God and the universe have to offer. In our present state, and I hope I don't come across as being arrogant, but in our present state, we won't be able to accomplish much if we don't grow into a level of maturity and spirituality that will enable us to draw down the transformative virtues of mercy, love, and peace capable of altering this world. We'll only prove that we are more than conquerors when we become proficient at responding to the hurling of the increasingly violent rhetoric that fills our ears daily by throwing out a little more love. Yes. And the threats will bounce away like ping pong balls when our lives become the paddles of peace. One of my primary role models and mentors, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, and I quote, "Returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So we come today to stand against the manufacturing of wickedness and evil that culminates in terrorism with the power of love that overcomes the love of power. We denounce everything that stands in the way of a peace-loving God and a God-fearing people that recognizes that there can be no change in a nation that does not desire to know change. And there can be no peace in a nation that has no desire to know peace. I close with the prayer that St. Francis of Assisi taught us to pray, saying, "Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there's injury, pardon. Where there's doubt, faith. Where there's despair, hope. Where there's darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born again to eternal life. So my prayer this morning is that God would grant us to die to the level of life we presently live, to be born again to the level of life that he desires us to live, a life above the senses. That is a hypersensitive life. For there, our thought lives and our prayer lives will always be enough to change the world, to counter not only white nationalist terrorism, but all of the hate, all of the vitriol that we presently witness today. God bless you, my Father's children. Heaven smile upon you. And we have to continue moving forward together and not take one step back. God bless you.